So we've just recently released our Dorzak episode of our Jerry Anderson's Heroes and Villains podcast. And a section of that was us talking about the Croton spaceship, which you can see here, which was built by Martin Bower and is a superb example of his genius at not only detailing but panel work. All right. And years ago, well, must be 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, that shape and the greenness of it with the yellow bits as well, it inspired me to build that ship. All right. Which is nowhere near as good as that ship, but you know, it was an inspired by and inspired by Martin Bower as ever. It's a whole lot of kit parts and household parts. What we've got here, let's go through it quickly, is this container is a nifty container with a nifty top. I think this is what the Bionicle toys came in, and bought my son a Bionicle toy just so I could nab the box. We've got plastic card panels, we've got my coach line panels, kit pieces here and there. Again, inspired by Martin. Back in the day before he found EMA, he had no choice but to use either wooden rod or plumber's piping for anything piping wise. And of course, the problem with that is no glue sticks to it. So what we've got here is a piece of plumbing pipe. And I've done what Martin used to do, which is you wrap it in plasticard. You wrap plasticard around, glue it to itself, and then you can glue onto that, which creates a seam. And this is one of them, and I've covered that up with a bit of plastic pipe. We can see here that's a piece off of the FX recovery set. What we've got here, this ribbon detail along the side, is just a cable tie. So tank wheels, various kit parts. Again, not only the coach lines added afterwards for the yellow and the black, but some of these are actually the coach lines that I added and put on the model before painting it. That's the cap off of a Lenore bottle, and that's a part off of an old towel, Games Workshop towel tank, and I think that's a counter from a game. All right, so yeah, that was totally inspired by this. And so I dug it out, and it's like, yeah, it's all right, but I want a bigger one and one more in the tradition of what Martin had done. And it can be best pointed out here. You've got a cone at the front, which he used a Caddy Mac tea dispenser, then a bit of piping, then a bigger bit. Then we go back to the same size pipe, and then a flaring bit at the end. All right. So that's what I'm aiming to do. Now, as I record this, and this is going to come out, this video is going to come out way after the fact, because this is going to be one long video rather than what I've just been doing with the Eagle transporter kit, which was in parts. This is one long video, so this is going to come out way after the fact. But as I'm recording, it's 2 weeks away from Easter. And as is usual, when you're approaching Easter, you get, in the craft shops, eggs for, decorating and putting things inside. So I've got this from Hobbycraft. It's a nice, decent size egg. It was like £1.50, something like that. You know, if you try and buy this from like EMA, it will cost you like, 20 quid, but this is like 150. So that's going to be like at the front. All right. And then we're going to have a pipe coming away from that, which will be drain pipe. I've worked out. Yeah, I've got some drain pipe which will be correct for that. And then, yeah, I've been rummaging through my bits boxes, and I've pulled up all sorts of things. So I might be using space shuttle parts. These old containers might be a part of it. Could be using more space shuttle bits. These I'll be putting on there. These were provided for my brother for something that I made on Patreon. Okay, as are these. He thought these would be quite handy, and I can certainly see them as some sort of like external tanks. Got R2D2 parts in here. This might be a part of a flary bit, although it's not flary enough. I've got to keep looking in my boxes of household junk and everything. So yeah, this is the start. I'm going to have a rummage. I don't know how big the ship's going to be. It's going to be bigger than that. It's not going to be the like 5 foot length that Martin's was, but I reckon about 3 foot. So I'll come back when I've had more of a rummage and maybe more of an idea. Okay, it's about 3 weeks later. I've had a mini holiday and been distracted by other projects, but I've come back and I've had a rummage, and joy of joys, what I thought was the drain pipe. This isn't a drain pipe, this is injection plastic, and I'm guessing I got it from EMA. Can't remember why I bought it or what it was for, but yeah, so that's fine. I don't have to wrap this with plastic card. Things will stick straight to this, and this is the length of, I'm going to use this whole length. This is going to be the main center of the ship, and so the ship's going to be that long. All right, and I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the back forwards. All right, now on Martin's ship, and as I say, I want to do this heavily influenced by Martin's Croton ship. He had a cone on the end, and that cone, he says, he was in a newsagent's one day, and there was a sweet display which was like a 16-inch upended cone, and he really liked it, and he asked the guy, can I buy it? And he did, and he took it home. All right, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to have this bit with the flared cone on the end, and I had a rummage through my bits boxes, not my kit bit boxes. I've got all different types of bit boxes. I've got model kit bit boxes, but I've got, you know, junk bit boxes and container bit boxes, and I came across this, which some of you may recognise. That's from Kerplunk, isn't it? It's the bit on the top. You put all the straws through the holes, drop the balls in, and then pull the straws out one by one. Had this ages, you know, and never throw anything away. Another adage from Martin Bauer, and that's what I'm going to use. That's going to be on the end there like that. All right, but just like Martin, I've got to cap that. All right, now just leaning across and reading from Martin's book, he says, I could use this cone to be part of the Croton ship. I needed something to encase the open end of it though. I looked in my EMA catalogue once I'd returned to my workshop to see if they had any interesting parts that I could use. Luckily, I found they made elliptical heads up to 18 inches in diameter, so I ordered one that would fit my newly acquired cone, and when it arrived, it connected perfectly. Once glued, this became the base of the craft. Right, so that's what I wanted to do, to encase that end. I wanted to do it. The only thing is, EMA don't do elliptical heads. They do elliptical domes, and they do dished heads, right? And not knowing which one Martin used, I ordered 2 of the right diameter to enclose it. This is a dished head, and that's an elliptical dome. And sticking them on one by one, I've come to the conclusion it was a dished head. It wasn't an elliptical head, it's a dished head. And as you can see, that fits on there perfect. All right, so that's going to be that. Right, so that's the very end. I've got to snip that bit off and put some kit details on. So that's going to go on there. What I also need to do is, this is obviously curved on the inside, put a flat piece of plastic card in there to join that to that, but that is too thin compared to that. So I had a look around, and this bit that I showed you last time I'm going to use. I think this is out of, I seem to remember I had a leaf blower machine and it broke, and whenever big chunky machines break, before throwing them away, I open them up to see what's inside. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is out the leaf blower. So what I'm going to do is put a piece of plastic card in there to make that flat, at the bottom. Glue that to it. Is it all going to stay in place? And then that goes over the top. Well, you kind of see what I'm up to. And then that, excuse me, that then goes into there. So yeah, just about now ready to get underway. All right, first three parts are joined together. So yeah, the dished head, I glued in a piece of foam board, and then glued the Kerplunk, the red Kerplunk bit on the top, and I've just hot glued that funnel bit in. So yeah, next step before I move further up the ship is do some detailing on all these areas. On Martin's original, the bottom here, there were a series of nozzles going around, and I think he used truck 124 scale truck wheels for those recessed in. I'm not recessing in, but I will be doing something in a similar vein to that. All right, that's on that piece. I'm going to leave the holes. I quite like the holes the way they are. I might put small kit pieces every so often in between them, and then I've got to start doing paneling up here. I've got a feeling this is the type of plastic, the rubbery plastic that nothing but hot glue really sticks to. So I'm going to be doing the same thing that I always do in that case, is put on some self-adhesive coach lines, which kit parts super glue easily to. Well, quite a bit of progress since last time. On the very rear here, as a nod to what Martin did, Martin on the Croton ship, he cut holes in the head here, and he stuck behind them wheels from a 1/24 scale truck kit. So as a nod to that, I've put on these circular pieces. These are all from the Tamiya 88mm kit, which is just a treasure trove of nifty parts. And some of my coach lines are on there with some half round rod and one more little wigget from the 88mm kit. Then coming forward, what I've got here is more of the coach lines, some more bits from the 88mm kit, and then moving forward, this grey bit is the external fuel tank from the Airfix Space Shuttle kit, and I've cut the dome off of the end so it will fit in there. I haven't thrown that bit away. I'm saving that for a Patreon model that I'll be making. I'll be making a Mega City 1 building using a part of that. So what else have I got? Yeah, these two things that look like eyes looking at you, they're not really meant to look like that. What they are again another nod to Martin's work. On the Croton ship, he used some of the elliptical heads up the length of the ship, and I've got a couple, and they're clear ones, which is why they look like this. These will be painted, and they are backed by a couple of Tamiya tank wheels. All right, so that's a nod. A bit more half round rod, another Airfix piece, and this is the acrylic rod, which is the central core of the ship, which will go right the way to the top there. And this is a foam board spacer that I've just put in just for now. This is going to be a busy area, this bit here, between this piece where my thumb is and the next piece, which is going to be there. I'm going to have this smaller diameter tube, and I'm going to busy it all up. What I love about Martin's work is sometimes he has very, very busy bits, and then he has blank bits, and that's what I'm going to be doing here. And these are two pieces off of the Airfix 1/24 scale Mustang kit, which I bought for the studio scale Blake 7 hairdryer ship. Used some machine guns from that and a couple of other bits, which was fine, but it left me with an awful lot of spare parts, so it's about time I use some. So this is going to be a very busy area. I'm going to put a few more bits on here before moving aft a bit more. I'll be moving on, trying to break up the tubiness of it all. That's a cut down piece of one of the booster rockets off the space shuttle kit. A little bit of something or other to join these two bits together. Bit of Tamiya there. Starting to build up more of the detail in this bit. And then I've done something Martin Bauer put me onto, which is you get the Saturn V parts and you put a spacer between the two to widen it out, and you stop having a tube shape. This is what he did for the main body of the Hawk spacecraft, except he used a much wider spacer than I've used. So I've done that because I've now got a flat area and I can put on nice long flat detail bits, something you can't do when you're working on a curve. Okay, so this thinnest part of it so far has been bulked out with all sorts of kit parts. It's not that noticeable, but the majority of it are these clear plastic tubes that my brother had sent me when I was adapting a Mandalorian helmet for him over on my Patreon page. I had them left over, so that's widened this narrow bit further, so that's good. I'm happy with that. And detailing continues of the next section. On the ship in the show, halfway up there's an airlock, and I'm going to have the same. So this is part of the 88mm kit, and this is going to be the airlock, which is a resin piece. I won a modelling competition years ago, and I was sent a whole lot of resin pieces, and this is one of them that I've never used, and I'm thinking that's going to fit nicely on there. So I'll come back, because very soon I'm going to slide that on. That's going to be about there, and then once it's on I can start attaching bits and blending these two parts together. Well, she's gaining some mass now by attaching the airlock on there. I'm going to put a few more bits here and there on the hull, not much more than what's on this part. And then just as I did there with all the detail, made the thin pipe bulkier. I've started bulking up the remaining bit of pipe. These are 3 of the bay doors on the Airfix Space Shuttle kit. I put 3 of them on, and I'm going to be putting more detail on there. That's the very end. I'll come back next time. I've made some progress on the very end, and I'll show you that shortly. Even though I'm not at the end yet, I am, if you see what I mean. This is going to be the very front of the ship. So here's the shiny gold Easter egg. I've drilled a hole in its base and attached it to this injection plastic part. I don't know what on earth that came out of, but it works. It serves its function, and as you see, I've bolted it together. And next I'm going to be gluing that part off of the space shuttle kit onto the end there, and that's going to be the neck and the head of the ship. It's getting difficult now to get everything in, but that's the front bit all detailed up. All right, we're almost pretty much there. All right, so that's the main part, and here you can see adding more detail to the nose cone. That's nearly done. I'll be gluing that on next, and then do some final details. I'm going to put a little prong on the front to follow what Martin did on the original. Oh, and the other thing is, you see there, I've drilled a hole. All right, that is to take this, there we go, which is 2 elliptical heads stuck together. Drilled a hole in the underside, put a bit of a paper clip in. Again, I'm copying Martin. He says that here on the original, that's exactly what he did. He stuck, here he stuck the elliptical heads up the body, but here he stuck two together. And as you can see in a row of three there, that's exactly what I'm doing, following the master yet again. Okay, got to stand above it to get it all in, but there we go, all in grey primer, ready for the top coat. What I've done with those EMA domes, there's three of them, is while I was in the middle of, I sprayed them grey, and then I sprayed them in the Ford Diamond White, and now I've masked them off because that's going to be a lot easier than trying to paint white over the next colour, and I'll come back with the next colour. So I'm doing my side-on ship concurrently with this build, and on that I have mentioned about how the three closest Halfords car supply shops to me all at the moment have a shockingly low amount of car spray paint supplies. I don't think it's a supply problem. Talking to the girl in my nearest one, she says it's head office. They're just not very good at organising a restock, which is frustrating. And a couple of days ago, I just went in there for some grey and white primer. Wasn't expecting much, and yet the racks are still pretty bare. But I thought, oh, while I'm here, is there a green that might be suitable for this ship? I have got a can of green spray paint, but it's the Thunderbird 2 green that I bought, and it's a bit too cartoony. I'm still not happy with that green that I did on that. So I could use that, but it would be nice if I found something else. And there was just one can of green just sat there all by itself, and it's like, well, that looks like it might do. So I took a gamble, come home, sprayed it on, and you know what? Let's bring in the real ship, lay it alongside. I don't think that's far off. In fact, I think this is it. Let's turn the page so you can see again. There, like so. You see? I think this is it. And if that is the case, then Martin used Rover Applejack. This is the colour. My friend Ian, I was talking to him yesterday, and I showed him an image of Applejack, and he's like, yeah, that's the colour minis used to be back in the 70s. So I'm very pleased. I think that the one can of green paint that my local shop had looks to be the very paint that it is a perfect match. So there we go. It's base coated. I've uncovered the domes that I had sprayed Ford Diamond White before starting. So now it's a case of putting on contrasting colours. Now Martin, I've lost the page now, he did different panels in different shades of green, and there's some yellows. I don't know how much I'm going to go on this one. Definitely needs toning down with matte varnish, but before I do any of that, I'll have to put weathering on. Definitely going to put some panel lines on and stuff like that now. That's why I've deliberately left some of the areas clear, ready for that. All right, I'm calling this done. I've picked out the airlock in metallics, but no, and I've put some decals on, as you can see. But I'm calling this done to actually, weather it. I'll get through all my weathering materials and pastels and stuff like this. So I'm just leaving it as is, all right, because it's quite a size. Nice little project, nice little fun project, and yeah, not much more to say apart from well, where do I put it?